Hey folks, welcome back. Thanks for joining us for the second video on what to do to help your horsemanship when you're stuck at home in a quarantine. Um, so in the first video we talked about visualization and how that's going to help both like thinking about how you're riding and what you're doing with your riding, but also watching video of yourself doing stuff correctly and really helping to improve that. As you go through these next parts, it also isn't a bad idea to visualize as you're working with your posture and your rein handling that we're going to do in the next video, but also even video yourself doing this in the house. And then look at the video, because one of the things that will happen in our movement is your body will lie to you. This happens on the horse all the time. It also happens just sitting. A lot of people, even just sitting, trying to sit in good posture, a shoulder will be down, or they'll be twisted, or something like that because of maybe old injuries, maybe a need for chiropractic adjustment. Any number of things can cause that. But it's important to see that, because what you do when you're sitting in a chair or you're walking, you're standing, those kinds of things will directly affect your riding, because your body will move in very similar ways. So when we're doing this, even in the house like we're doing now, it's not a bad idea to video, to get an idea of how it looks. Remember, believe the video. Even if you think, okay, this feels perfect, and you look at the video and it doesn't look perfect, it's not. So as we go through this, again, working on stuff that we can do at home if we can't ride, one of the important things is that we can take time anytime. You finish eating, you're drinking a cup of coffee, you're sitting in a chair. Think about your posture when you're horseback. Now, you're not always going to be in this posture. There's a lot of times you're just going to relax on the couch and watch TV or whatever it is, and that's fine. But take time to think, okay, if I was riding, where would my body be right now? And then really try to really be aware of what's happening in your body. When I sit up in good posture, am I in good posture but also relaxed? Or am I in good posture and I'm tense? Am I accidentally activating muscle structure that really doesn't need to be activated? So if I'm sitting here right now, even though I'm in good posture, I'm still relatively relaxed. My shoulders are relaxed. Between my shoulder blades, I can feel is relaxed. My arms are relaxed. I'm using a little bit of my back muscles to keep my posture and my core to keep my posture. But my hips are relaxed, my legs are relaxed. I'm only using those muscles that I need to use to maintain this posture. Now, as I do this, the other thing that I can do is I can start thinking. Now we go back to the visualization that we were talking about in the previous video. Now I visualize my riding. So I'm thinking about, okay, I'm walking with my horse, which means their spine is swinging right and left, which means I need to be swinging right and left as well. Okay, and I need to be swinging with my hips. If I'm doing this while I'm sitting here visualizing, then it's probably going to not be good on the horse, because it's actually going to probably be magnified on the horse. If I'm thinking about the horse trotting, same thing. What's the spine doing? What's the rhythm of that movement? As I visualize, I can think about what's the spine of the horse doing at a walk? It's going right and left. What's the spine of the horse doing at a trot? It's going right and left. As you think about this and visualize this, and you move your body through that movement, it will start to burn that into your brain. So here's something funny that's happening right now. My wife is behind the camera, and she's thinking about it as I was just talking about it, and I could see her thinking about it, and she's moving her body exactly the way she would be doing if she was riding. So it's really important. It's important to, as you visualize, to move your body through those movements. If I'm cantering, what's that going to feel like? How am I going to move my body? I work with a lot of people that have difficulty really getting in rhythm with that canter because they're tight in their lower back, in their hips. If you're sitting here on a chair, you can work on using your core and working your core in order to pick up that canter rhythm, maintain that canter rhythm, and then work on your stops, work on coming up and moving into the canter, work on slowing down and doing a downward transition. If I stop, as I stop, it's a more dramatic movement. I can start just here, ho, and drop my hips. Or I can get to the edge of the chair. I can lift it off the ground a little bit. Now, don't fall off your chairs when you do this, and if you do, don't call me, okay, be safe. But ho, ho. And I can actually, you guys can see, I'm physically moving that chair. Now, as I do this and I visualize this, I'm thinking of riding one-handed in the two-rein, which we'll get to in the next video when we talk about the rein handling. But it's ho, okay? Ho. I exhale and I bring that chair up. Now, depending on your chair, you might literally be smacking yourself in the back when you do this. Now, as I turn this sideways, and I'm here, okay, and I'm sitting on the edge of this chair, it's just this, ho. And I tuck, and I bring that chair up to me. And I bring it back up to me. Now, I'm visualizing. I'm in the canter. I'm going to stop and roll back to the left. Ho, roll back, and then up, out of the canter, and I rebalance myself. As I sit, and I sit in that rollback, I tilt my pelvis so that I'm on the inside seat as I do my rollback. Don't sit on the outside seat. It's a great way to end up in the dirt. I sit, and as I sit, I can either sit on the left seat or the right seat and put more weight on one side or the other. The other thing as I do this, I can think about, okay, if I'm riding in a shoulder in, what am I going to do? I'm going to pick up, again, I'm visualizing riding one-handed in the two-rein. Pick up my reins so that I pick up the slack in the rein on the inside of the bend, and I give a little bit of slack on the outside rein so that my reins stay balanced. I sit on the inside seat and I move. Now, I might visualize going into the shoulder in and then suddenly stopping and rolling back. So it's visualize I'm sitting up. I'm going to be on the edge of my chair. I'm visualizing sitting up. I'm riding that shoulder in, and then in that shoulder in, I'm going to roll back. Ho, and right into the roll back. So I'm sitting on the inside seat. When I do that roll back, my seat, my hips, and everything are in the perfect position to follow that horse and be with that horse's balance. And then I'm going to video myself doing that at home. Now, that's just a couple of examples. It's completely up to you what it is that you feel like you need to focus on. But it is something that you can work on at home when you can't ride, when we're stuck the way we're stuck right now. As we do this, it's really important to think about the rhythm of the horse. So you can work two things. You can work your posture. Well, it's three things actually, because it's your posture, it's your movement, but it's also in that visualization, really visualize the rhythm of the horse. What is your horse's walking rhythm? What's the spine doing? The horse's spine sets the rhythm. It's not the feet that set the rhythm. It's the spine that sets the rhythm that we need to follow. At the walk, at the trot, it's right, left. The horse moves like a fish, okay? That's what happens at the walk, trot. Study their spine. At the trot, the spine does not go up and down. The hips go up and down, but the spine goes right and left. There is an up and down swing, but it's primarily a right and left movement. And then at the canter, the horse moves like a dolphin, okay? I grew up on the coast, so fish and dolphins make sense to me, okay? So as you're riding, these are some things to think about and some things that can really help you in your horsemanship even when you can't ride. So that was some stuff that we can do sitting. What about standing? There's a lot of things we can do when we're standing. In fact, at clinics, you guys who've ridden with me know that I do a lot of demonstration just from the ground. And this is another place where you can work the visualization and the movement. So if I want to ride a shoulder in, so let's say over here is my fence, I'm riding towards you guys, and I'm going to do a shoulder in over here to the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put my hands where they would be. So whether I'm two hands or one hand in the hackamore, or I'm riding in the two reins, so I'm riding one-handed, whatever it is I'm going to do, I'm going to bring my hands into that position, and my hands are going to be at the same height they would be at if I was riding, so it's going to be a little bit below my belly button. And then I'm just going to think about what I would do. So I'd pick up that right rein, give a little bit in the left rein to get that bend set for the horse's neck, and have the reins even in pressure when that horse is set. And then what would I do with my body? I would come here, and I would ride that here. Now, the important part, if we're working this at home, is that first step. Because the first step in any of the movements, shoulder in, half pass, traversale, hind quarter in, travers, counter pirouette, any of those, the first step is the most important. So if you can visualize this and move yourself into that first step in proper posture, thinking about where you're at and where you're riding, it's boom, right there. And if you can really burn that in, it's going to really help to better communicate with that horse when you do have a chance to get out of the house and get horseback. The other thing is that you can literally walk this. Now, I don't have room to walk this right now because of how we're set up with the camera and everything. But as you walk this, think about walking it and what you're doing with your upper body. One of the things to keep in mind, though, is remember when you're working on this, the horse does move differently than we do. The idea that we want to mimic the horse's movement with our own body is very true. If I want them to drop their butt and drop their pelvis, tilt their pelvis, and really stop, well, I need to do the same thing. If I want them to come up in the withers, then I'm going to come up through my chest as I want them to come up through their chest and move. However, keep in mind that the horse has a very different balance than we do. We have a vertical balance, and the horse has a horizontal balance. So as we're working on this, think about the balance of where your horse's balance would be, not where yours would be. So if I'm here and I do this, this works for me as a human being. That doesn't work for a horse, because the horse's balance, as I start to do this, is going to fall through that shoulder. I have to think about where the horse's balance is. One of the ways you can think about it, and again in the visualization, if you were riding a bicycle with no hands, you were sitting up in good posture, you had no hands on the bike. In fact, your hands were down here like reins. What would you do with your body to turn and bend and make corners and do that kind of thing? Where would the balance be? Because the bicycle also has a horizontal balance. The difference is that if you're out of balance with the bicycle, you fall down. If you're out of balance with the horse will compensate for you, and you might never even know you're out of balance. So this is where, as I'm doing this, I want to think about where is the horse's balance and move with that horse as I go. So all of these things with this movement of our body can really help us so that when we do finally get out of this whole, quarantine mess with the whole coronavirus thing, or even if it's just the wintertime, it's bad weather, when you are finally able to get out and ride again, you'll be able to get into better rhythm with that horse. Your timing will be better. Your signals will be cleaner because you will have really visualized, you will have built those neural pathways to get your body doing what it is that it needs to do in order to more effectively communicate with your horse. In the next video, we're going to go ahead and work on some rein handling skills, and we're going to kind of put all this together and give you guys a whole picture of how you can really use all of these things so that when you do finally, have the time and the ability to get back horseback, you'll be way ahead of the game instead of ending up starting over and really getting frustrated because you've lost skills. Okay? So we'll see you in the next one.